Ameen, hi.
Hi.
We're gonna put some more light so that you can see the beautiful crowd that we have. Yes, here you go.
Everyone. Thank you.
So, Ameen, thanks for being with us. Sorry, we had some technical issues to get you in. I've introduced your film, Ameen, and I said this is based really on an encounter that you had with a friend of yours some years ago, almost 13 years ago. And I wanted to ask you actually, coming from a real event, but also coming from an event that really most of you Palestinians have to go through, I wanted to ask you, how did you go from a story or an encounter that you had with a friend of yours on his rooftop to write the script of 200 Meters, a fiction film?
Actually, part of one of the stories is an encounter of a friend, but the whole story is coming from my personal experience, because I am, my mother actually, she comes from a Palestinian village that is behind the wall today on the Israeli side. And since the wall was built some like 15, 16 years ago, I could no longer go to my grandparents where I grew up. So it affected me personally, and I grew up living this separation. That's how it came to my mind to talk about it, because I personally had this experience, and as well as many people that I know.
And when you started writing the film, of course, you have a central character who's Mustafa, played by the terrific Ali Sleiman. I wanted to ask you if you had Ali Sleiman in your mind while writing the script of the film. Did you think of him personally while writing the film, or did you approach him after the script was completed?
Yes, actually, when I started writing the first draft in 2013, I started to see Ali Suleiman as the main character, and he lived in my imagination for quite for a while, until we finally spoke with him. And my producer, Mayodi, she knows him personally, and he was enthusiastic about the project until finally he read the script. And I received a very beautiful phone call from him. He was very happy, and he was really looking forward to work on the project.
And next to Ali Sulaiman, you have really an ensemble cast. I mean, you have some actors of different ages, of different generations who are part of the film. You also have a German actress, but you also have an actor who previously played in your short film, The Crossing. How was it to select people or to select actors to play in alongside Ali Sulaiman, and how was it actually to convince a German actress to take part in such a story?
Actually, yes, working with the cast and even the casting itself, because we did it, me and May. We did not have a casting director. It was such a challenge because my characters are coming from real life, and I was looking for people that can really, give me this feeling, this authenticity. And yeah, so most of them, actually 70, maybe 80% of the cast, it's their first screen experience, but they're coming from theater background or from like some artistic background. So yeah, it was a very different way of working, because you have Ali Suleiman, such a professional world class, and the German actress and some other actors were really they had the experience, while others, it was their first time. So I was very lucky to work with Ali, because Ali, he was also sometimes helping the guys with the fresh experience. He was giving them tips, and he was helping. So yeah, but funny thing is that when I speak to the cast, I speak in Arabic, and then I have to realize again that there is a German actress that I have to repeat again in English every time, because she wants to know what is happening. And the way we cast her, I was asking like some friends, some German producers to introduce me to this age group. They suggested some agencies, but then I found this actress through a mutual friend. We met in a cafe in Berlin, and I told her about the film, and she was very like very enthusiastic about it, and that's how we worked together.
Before I leave the crowd the chance to ask you some questions, I mean, I wanted to, I mean, we all know the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We see it every day. Some of us have maybe more information about it. Some of us are more sympathetic to it. But what I found also interesting in your film is that you also show the inter-Palestinian conflicts that arise as part of this journey, but also as part of the daily life, in particular, how these two guys attack the group as they are trying to cross the wall. How was it for you to put together the bigger conflict on screen, but also address the specificities that the Palestinian deal with, but not necessarily from the Israeli-Palestinian perspective, but also from the Palestinian side?
Yes, actually, after the recent events in Palestine today, I wish if I had put more about the Palestinian conflict, because it is there. It is not very, and I don't think many Palestinian films talk about it, maybe a little bit, but especially in this journey, because, you know, I think it's not that I really wanted to talk about one thing or the other. I just wanted to stay true to the journey. And this journey, you know, this is how, and I was really happy. When the film was screened in Ramallah, in Palestine, in many cities, the reaction from the audience was, this happened to me. I know this person. This is my cousin. This is the story of my brother. You know, it is coming from real life. These things happen, you know, it is real. And that was guiding me, you know, in telling the story. I wanted to reflect how it is, you know, without leaving anything behind.
And we don't want to leave you behind. Do you have any questions that you want to ask? I mean, yes, please. We have a microphone. We will ask you to have your masks on when you want to ask a question.
Hello, hi, nice to meet you. I would like to ask about how it was making the film from such a real experience. Like, I imagine that must have been quite painful. So how are you able to sort of look after yourself and get through telling a story that's got so much real pain attached to it?
Yeah, it was not easy, I would say, because I am attached to the story. There were many things that I really wanted to talk about, you know, things from my memories and from my experience with the war. So yeah, I had lots of rewrites for the script to tell how to tell the better story. And but even when we were finally shooting the film, because it is you know, it is my life and the life of many people that I know. Actually, in many scenes when we were shooting, especially scenes with really like tense moments, you know, lucky that I was like having my own monitor and just like hiding in a screen. Sometimes I was really tearing because, you know, I don't know, like my feelings, because like, okay, I'm happy that I'm finally telling this story, but also, you know, this is really painful. So yeah, it was not easy, to be honest.
There is a gentleman here.
Hi, Ameen. Great project. I love it. I love the film. I love every single moment. Actually, what I wanted to ask is about the rehearsal time you have to get such harmony between the characters and themselves, like acting together. How much time did you spend rehearsing with them? And was it the final draft when you were like casting the people, or you had more time to draft another draft after getting the actors acquainted? Thank you.
Thank you. I think the total rehearsal time was 2 weeks. I started working with Ali Suleiman alone, so we had like a small workshop. We worked together, and he was really sorry. He was really very, very helpful. And then I think what gave this chemistry like how it came like this, because I was not very stubborn about the dialogue that I have written. So when we were reading the script with the cast, you know, anyone who had an idea, who was, you know, that if the idea was really pushing the scene forward or giving it more, you know, meaning, I was okay with it. So everyone kind of brought something to his or her character. And I think that's how they were really speaking out, like being themselves in a way. And I tried actually to, when I was casting, I tried to cast the actors that, you know, the character is really something, it is really close to this person, you know. So I think that was also, it helped in the film. Thank you.
Hello, huge congratulations. It's a stunning film and I'm still trying not to cry, so thank you for sharing your beautiful story. I wanted to know, because I've never been to Palestine, how it was for you to film while being so close to the wall and the soldiers, and were they real or did you have to cast that as well? How did you manage to get to be so free to film in a place that's very difficult to do anything?
Yes, thank you for the question. Actually, we filmed in real location. So we filmed next to the wall, to checkpoints, to watchtowers. And we did it by, you know, just going there and shooting. We did not have permits because these areas are military controlled areas and you cannot just get a permit to shoot there. So we had, I think, good plan. We tried to be fast and not to come back many times to the. So if we pass a checkpoint, you know, we would not come back directly to take the second take. We would wait for like 30 minutes. So they don't recognize our car, you know, going back and forth. So yeah, we shot. So the biggest scene was when Mustafa is going to cross with other workers to go to work in Israel. We shot this on the real location. The exterior part was shot with the real workers who were going to work at 2 in the morning. And then we had a build set. We had a build set for the interior checkpoint. So, and it fit perfectly with the exterior. And we also had another checkpoint where we took an establishing for the exterior. And then the other one was a build set. But everything else was real locations because, you know, the wall is there, the watchtowers are there. We cannot build them, why not use them? So, yeah.
Further questions? Yes, please, over there.
Thank you for the great movie. I wanted to ask about the choice of characters because this is a journey that many Palestinians have and they have it in different ways and it's the reality of so many people. Why did you choose to have the German character in the movie? Because she takes quite a bit of the spotlight and it kind of makes the story different than the story of an everyday Palestinian who is making this journey. So I just wondered about that.
Yes, actually, when I started writing the script, I had the idea that maybe I need a foreign character in the journey to answer to, you know, to be honest, for exposition, you know, because there were many things that I wanted to talk about that a Palestinian would not ask another Palestinian. Oh, is that a settlement? Is that a... So I needed someone to ask these questions. And then this character is also from real life. Like everything you saw in the film is something that either happened with me or I have heard about or happened to my friends. And I know the story of a German filmmaker who came to Ramallah and took a documentary workshop and then traveled with another Palestinian to make a documentary about smuggling. and it turned out to be the same story as the one I told you in the film. So when I started to think about, okay, now this is a story that I know, how can would it really work with the story that I'm trying to tell? That's how I started to work on it. That was the seed. Sorry. And then, thank you. And then, as I was, rewriting and thinking more about this character, I discovered that it really adds, there are many layers to this character, and why is she there, and what is her existence in this journey, how it is affecting Mustafa and the other characters, and how are the passengers or the travelers reacting to her background every time they learn something new about her. There were many layers that I thought were interesting to play with.
Was it interesting for you, Ameen, as a filmmaker, to have a filmmaker in your film? Did you think about shooting a filmmaker in your own film?
Yeah, it was actually. It was an idea that I was fascinated about, and it finally survived the 8 drafts that I wrote.
Is there any final question to Ameen? Anyone? Yes, please, gentleman over there.
Thank you for sharing such a personal and wonderful journey. I'm a little bit nervous to ask, but what was it like filming the scene with the 3 guys in the back of the car all together?
Actually, that's the scene when I cried. Yeah, it was very tense, I would say. It was so the younger guys. So Ali Suleiman, as he is an experienced actor, he knew how to control his breathing, But the younger guys, they were really. So the way we shot it, we were in a garage, and it was very dark, with the camera woman, the DOB. She was above the trunk. They were really in a trunk, but we tried to ventilate it, so they had enough oxygen. But the 2 guys, they were really hyperventilating a lot, and the way they were acting. And after a few shots, they fainted. I think it's the CO2 concentration. I don't know what happened to them, and we brought them in an ambulance. But it was fine. They were nobody was harmed, thankfully. But that scene was absolutely very, very difficult to shoot, and the emotions there and everything was. It was one of the most difficult scenes for me.
Yes, please. Final question.
Yes.
Just 1 second. We get you the microphone.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful, wonderful film. I want to say I enjoyed it, but you know what I mean. I want to ask you about the inter-Palestinian conflict, particularly in the context of the recent demonstrations when you had West Bankers, East Jerusalem, Israeli Palestinians all together. I was really upset to see the little boy had a problem in school where they accused him, his father, you're a West Banker. Could you tell us a little bit about what lies behind it?
Yeah, the little boy, he goes to a Palestinian school on the Israeli side. So he is being bullied by Palestinians. And this is actually this specific line, it started a big conversation here in Palestine. And they've told me, finally, somebody is talking about this. I am from the West Bank and my mother is from the other side. And I had this experience many times for them calling me a West Banker. Sorry. I have a bad cough. So yeah, I think it was very important for me to talk about these social issues that we are having as Palestinians between each other, just to as a reminder. Okay, we have to talk about this. We have to really pay attention that there are many things that we have to work on.
I mean, before we close our talk, do you have any word that you want to say? I mean, what happened just a month or 2 months ago is an ongoing process, actually, and it's far from being over. And I wanted to leave you the stage to just share something with the audience. Is there anything that you want the people to know? I mean, you're a filmmaker, you voice things through your film, but also you have the chance also to express yourself. Would you like to say something to the audience, that the audience takes with?
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I'm sorry I'm having this cough. I might not be able to talk for a long time. But yeah, well, what happened recently in Palestine was, of course, very difficult and very painful for everyone in Palestine, and I think also outside Palestine. And, you know, yes, now, today, things are calmer, but it is not calm. The situation is still very difficult. You know, the ethnic cleansing is going on. If not in Jerusalem, in the West Bank. If not in Sheikh Jarrah, sorry. Yeah, I don't have the COVID, just to assure you. I just had a common cold and I'm recovering, hopefully. Yeah, so what I wanted to say is that, you know, the situation today is still, you know, we need solidarity. This is something I said before, and I would say it every day, every night. We need solidarity, you know, to help us get our basic human rights. You know, as you saw in the film, a father is trying to be with his son. This is our daily struggle. When my grandmother was in the hospital in Tel Aviv, I applied for a permit to visit her, and they gave me 8 hours, only 8 hours, to be with my dying. She was dying, and they gave me 8 hours to be with my dying grandmother. And of course, once I crossed, I did not care about the 8 hours. I stayed with her for 3-4 days until she passed away. But the fact that, you know, they give me only 8 hours, it is really, this is not human. And I don't know if we alone can achieve justice, but we need your solidarity. And thank you.
I mean, thank you so much. We'll let you go and relax. And also, we would like everyone to know that Ameen's film is really touring everywhere. He's doing talks everywhere. We just hope to see him physically at some point with his film, but we're very happy that we managed to screen the film physically for you. And I mean, I'm sure you see the audience. This is a sold-out theater tonight, which we're very happy with. And yes, I will say a couple of words to the crowd, but we will let you go. Thank you so much for being with us. Take care of yourself, and we will be beside you, supporting you, and yeah, in solidarity with Palestine.
Thank you everyone, and good night. Ciao. Bye-bye.